I don't know if you all have noticed, but it is the fall times, and it's so good. This video right now is gonna be me talking, and eating a muffin, and drinking some water. That's gonna be the content of this video, so if that's not what you're into, sorry, that's what's happening. I tend to like the just sit and chit-chat videos. You kind of get a sense of who they are. It's like having a conversation, and I really like that. Some of my favorite people that I subscribe to generally have at least a couple of those videos, and that is generally the point at which I do subscribe, so that's what I'm doing here, I guess. I wanted to say thank you to my 35 new subscribers in the last few days. That has been just unprecedented. So I'm gonna go over kind of like a table of contents for my next few videos that I am planning on doing, and some other ideas. This is like a project update of things that I'm going to be doing soon. First things first, I recently read the word Sleevils in the costuming and sewing community, and I hated it. Sleeves are such miraculous, wonderful, absurd, they have such personality, and sleeves are to be loved and respected. But I understand that sleeves can be hard to assemble sometimes. That tends to be what people enjoy the least, hence the term Sleevils. People have problems with them. And so, light bulb over my head, I'm going to do a series solely on the sleeve, because I too have neglected sleeve making, and that should be remedied. So I would like to take you with me on sort of a Sleeve Academy adventure in which I explore really just everything about sleeves. How to draft sleeves, the different kinds of sleeves, sleeves through history, whatever the deal is with arm size and like trying to fit the movement of an arm, because that is just nonsense. If you have a particular problem with sleeves that you would like addressed and you haven't been able to find a great resource on it, or just want to see someone try it and do it and give some tips, let me know what problems you've been having down in the comments, and I will try to address each and every one of those things throughout the course of the series. If that works out incredibly well, I have ideas going forward for maybe starting a Patreon, making pins and stuff like that for this Sleeve Academy idea and series, and I'm hoping to kind of build a community around the sleeve so that we all can be sleeve masters and we can end the term Sleevils once and for all. Speaking of Patreon, I want to shout out to one of my true loves, Heroes of Brehill. You can find Heroes of Brehill at patreon.com/a-night-out. That's night with a K. Heroes of Brehill is a fun fantasy adventure with a little bit for everyone. It has mystery, it has romance, it has combat and suspense, it has victory and comedy and thoughtfulness, travel and learning and magic, and just everything you could probably ever want out of a fantasy adventure book. The story starts out in a small village in the woods called Brehill during their annual harvest festival called the Festival of Crowns. And it's so cute, and it's like, if you're in the mood for something fall related, that is where it starts out. It is a very good time to jump in on it right now. Something happens during that festival that kind of throws these few villagers' worlds out of whack, and they have to go on basically a 5-year mission. That sounds way too Star Trek, but they go on a quest to stop an evil force from taking over the world, basically. But it's very fun. They meet a lot of other cool people along the way. They participate in a tournament. They fight a dragon. Like, everything that you could want out of a fantasy series, it is in here. It's a very cathartic, cozy adventure novel, and I hope you go and check it out because I really want some folks to fangirl over it with me. The whole story has been outlined, played through in RPG form, of course, and now it is being fleshed out into the novel that it deserves to be. And by joining the Heroes of Brehill Patreon, you will have access to the story chapter by chapter as it is written, behind the scenes insights, and exclusive lore and side stories taking place in the overall world of Ardest. You'll also gain access to special features in the Heroes of Brehill Discord channel, such as one-on-one chats with the author and some of the creative minds behind each of the Heroes of Brehill themselves. This is not the last time I will talk about Heroes of Brehill, because at some point I would really love to do a cosplay of one of the main characters, Theodoria Blair. It's not every game or every story that you get quite exactly as much as you wanted out of it, and this one is everything. So stay tuned for a cosplay of one of the Heroes of Brehill, and I will talk a little bit more about the story at that point. I love it. I hope you love it. Go check it out, and I will now stop bothering you with this intermission and get back to some of my other sewing projects that I'll be doing in the future. Coming up most immediately is I'm going to be making an Edwardian corset. It is pattern style U from Atelier Sylph, and this will hopefully, supposedly, be my first time fully completing a corset. I have made a couple of attempts before with different versions of stays and corset making, kind of throughout the years, but I've never quite had enough information behind me to really do it right. And since then, I studied other costubers' videos and their methods, and oh, is it raining? It's raining, isn't it? I've studied their methods, and I've done some extra research, and I think I am ready now to do my own. I chose Style U because it is pretty much the perfect design for me, I think. It's fairly close to my measurements, and I also like that style because it has larger gussets in the butt area rather than the side hips, which is what I need the most help with for that body shape. So stay tuned for that. That is number one. The next thing that I'm planning to do is an everyday Renaissance dress. Some of you have seen on my Instagram or in the video I did about folding fans the orange Renaissance style dress that I made as an everyday summer wardrobe type of thing, or for layering in the fall, etc. I made it based on an old Lord of the Rings costume pattern and did some tweaking to it. I initially made that as part of the one-day make challenge, but failed miserably pretty immediately. So I tried to rush it for the remaining days that I worked on it. It took me about 5 days in total to finish it. And because I had made the expectation of myself that I would try to do it in one day, I pretty much immediately just hated the rest of the process. And I really should never do that to myself. I should really just never rush anything. So that is what I learned. I got all of the footage from that make, and I was going to put it up here on YouTube. But when it got to the editing phase, I just could not be part of that process again. I got so tired just looking at the footage. But my mom came to me and she asked me to make her one as well. It will be a little bit more streamlined, so I'll be able to show you the everyday Renaissance dress as a full process now with some brand new footage, and I hope you will enjoy it. I will be doing that again. Thirdly, I suppose all of these videos are turning into things I have tried before and now I am doing it better. because the third thing I'm going to do is the TLC Caftan from Decades of Style that several other costubers at this point have also made. I made it once. I made it out of muslin. It was just going to be a mock-up that I could kind of futz with and alter, but it ended up fitting me pretty well, so I just finished it off. I even hand finished the seams and everything. Like, it doesn't deserve to be called a mock-up anymore. It is a garment. And after wearing it for a couple days, I kind of decided that I don't like it as much as I wanted to. It's very close to being very cozy, but there's a couple details that I'm just not super into, and so I'm going to do some repatterning, readjusting, and then I will show you the making process of the new and improved TLC Caftan. Those are kind of the most concrete videos I have planned for right now, and beyond that I still have some ideas in the development stage. While the previous few ideas are things that are kind of remakes of things that I've already tried, the next few are going to be rolls of fabric that I have plans for and have yet to do anything with. First is this one, which I will be using for a Fool tarot card cosplay. I really love the classic Rider-Waite design for the Fool and that costume that he's wearing, and I decided that it would be really fun to recreate. So I went looking for a fabric that would be similar enough to do it with, and I found this one, which is pretty darn close. I'm not sure exactly how I want to construct it yet, because of course it is an illustration and it takes a little bit of interpretation, but I think it will be very fun to do, and I am excited for it. If you want to join me on my tarot cosplay adventures, you are absolutely welcome to do so. It would be very fun if we could get at least the whole major arcana, if not the whole deck, cosplayed by a variety of people. Make sure you @ me on Instagram, and if you are also a costuber and you make a video of your tarot cosplay, that would be super cool, and we could definitely start a playlist for that challenge as well. Then we have this roll of silk. My knowledge of silk is a little rough, but I think it might be a Dupioni silk. It feels thicker and like scrubbier than a taffeta, so that's like the other word in my vocabulary, and I think that might be what this is. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to make with it, but I'm pretty confident that it will be something in the realm of 18th century. Because, I mean, look at it. But I have about 10 yards here, so anything is possible. I managed to pick it up at the fabric warehouse near where I live for only $6 a yard, which was a pretty crazy good deal as far as silk goes. Normally it's what, like 30 bucks a yard? Silk is bananas, you guys. And our last fabric roll is actually not being made into a garment. I am reupholstering a vintage chair that used to belong to my great-grandma. I did some poking around, and it looks like this sort of chair was generally a vanity seat in the 30s? It was a Hollywood style thing, but it's got this heart-shaped back and some tufting and ruffles, and it's very cute. It's been needing a little love for quite a while. For kind of as long as I can remember, it's had a crack in the seat. The original vinyl fabric has gotten very dried out and brittle since my great-grandma owned it, and in that state it's not super functional as a chair. So reupholstery it is. I got a quote from a local place and realized that it was kind of beyond my budget to have the professional do it. So what I'm going to try to do is reupholster it myself. I think that'll be a little bit more meaningful in the long run too. It'll be a little complicated because again it's not something that I've done before, but I think it'll be pretty worth it. I'm pretty confident that I can. And I'm pretty sure my great-grandma would approve of both the effort and the fabric choice. And then that is the end of the rolls, but that leads me now into other projects, because they never end. First off is this old-timey sewing machine that I have just recently acquired. Rick and I joined a neighborhood app that lets us keep in contact with our neighbors in the surrounding area, etc. And one of the things on the free section was this old trundle sewing machine, which is so cool. When I saw it on the listing, it looked just like this. I didn't know anything about what was inside, and so I will do a quick little video at some point to show you this majestic piece of equipment that I am fairly excited about, and show you kind of the process of maybe fixing it up and cleaning it up a little bit, because it too needs a little love. Finally, in relation to sewing rooms, we recently moved into a new house, and while I do have a very good setup, Rick and I both have our own rooms for our hobbies, and it's so nice to finally have that space. But one of the things I got really excited about, even from the first time we toured the house, was this little attached garage. We got weirdly lucky in finding a place that had a small 1-car attached garage and a big 3-car shop garage, which is, it's just bananas. But anyway, in having that second garage, we're not always going to need the little tiny attached garage. And so I'm very excited to eventually finish the inside of that and turn it into my new sewing room. Just because where I'm at now is the basement, and although we have a couple of nice windows in there, look at the majestic sunlight that filters through this side of the house. We thought the lights were on. No, it's just the sun. So someday, probably next year sometime, maybe even the year after, we're gonna have this house for a long time, so I guess we're in no rush. But eventually, watch me make over a garage into a beautiful, beautiful sewing studio, which will have its own entrance to the house, so if I do manage at some point to open like a tailoring business or some other sort of private thing, I'll be able to sell things right out of my studio attached to my house, and it will be so cool. So those are the things on the docket. If you have made it this far into the video, thanks so much. It's been great having you. What I am hoping for on this channel at some point is a form of monetization, because who doesn't want to work for themselves? Technically, I suppose I'll be working for you guys, but you know what I mean. That said, if you like any of these ideas and want to see more, be sure to subscribe down below and hit the notification bell. I don't foresee myself ever having a very rigorously consistent posting schedule, because what we're doing here is art, and art takes time, and if I rush myself through it, neither of us will get the quality content we want and deserve. So if you want to stay up to date on the videos that I post, notifications are probably going to be your best bet. You can also follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is a teeny bit more random than my channel here. It's got like food and pets and whatever, so whatever you want to do there. But just know that it's not all sewing all the time over there. Remember to leave me your comments about things you love, hate, desire to know about sleeves, and be sure if you do any tarot cosplay to tag me on Instagram, because I would love to see what you guys come up with. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye guys. I'm so glad it didn't rain.